Hello Gemini, my name is Keith Haswell. I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business and over 30,000 clients worldwide. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this reading of your horoscope for the year 2014 from a spiritual perspective. Now, if your sun sign Gemini is Gemini and you don't know what your ascendant is, if you know your time of birth accurately within a half an hour, submit your birth details through my website and I'll be happy to send you your chart, and then you will know what your rising sign is or your ascendant is. And that will be much more applicable to what I'm telling you in this particular reading, because this is a spiritual reading. Now, what I'll be focusing on in this reading for you is to look at your horoscope from the point of view of the movements of planets in 2014, so that I can help you to understand what's going on in your life spiritually, but also from the mundane events and conditions in your life as well, with a view to helping you to understand more about yourself. To know yourself is a very powerful force and a very powerful need. And so the science of astrology can help you to understand more about yourself. And I'll be looking at the location of the signs on each of the 12 houses of your horoscope. You've got your rising sign, which is the sign on the eastern horizon at the time of your first breath. And that sign is individual to you and you alone, and to others who have the same rising sign as you. If we don't know your rising sign, then we use the sun as the cusp of the first house, and it's equally as accurate. But it's preferable if you can have your ascendant and be working on looking at the video that is applicable for your rising sign or your ascendant. Now, what I'm going to be doing for you is telling you the various impacts of the signs on the cusps of your houses. Astrology is the most scientific presentation of hidden truth in the world today, because it deals with you and your life and the events and conditions in your life. Now, it's important to understand that you are creating all of the events of your life. There's no such thing as karma that's imposed upon you, and therefore you must break a leg because you forced someone in a last life to break their leg or something like that, or all of these things that are imposed upon you because you've been a bad person in your past life. You are experiencing all of these events and conditions because of your raw materials. These are your attitudes and your beliefs, your thoughts and your feelings, and the decisions and choices that those attitudes and beliefs and thoughts and feelings engender from within yourself. Now, each of us are living our lives through the events and conditions of our life, and experiencing our consciousness through those events and conditions in our life. And these events and conditions in our life all belong somewhere in one of the 12 segments of your horoscope called houses. So, as having your rising sign on the cusp of your first house, there'll be the next sign following on from that is going to be in the cusp of the second house, and then the next sign will be on the cusp of the third house, and so forth, all the way through the 12 segments of your horoscope called houses. And each of the events of your life fit into one of these 12 houses. But more importantly than that, you are experimenting and experiencing and expressing your consciousness through these houses. And in that process, you are gaining experience and you are gaining knowledge, and you are turning that knowledge into wisdom. Now, the most important thing about my reading that I'm going to be doing for you here is that I'm going to be telling you what are the needs that you are fulfilling through these houses of your horoscope, because each of the 12 houses you are fulfilling certain needs in life through the events and conditions of that house. The first house, for example, is your need to have impact. You need to commence and start projects and ideas so that you can have impact in the world and feel a sense of power. The second house is the house to do with your sense of security and fulfilling your security needs, not just your financial security, but also your physical health security and your emotional security, your mental security, and your spiritual security in life. So through that house you're fulfilling your security needs. Through the third house you are fulfilling your needs to communicate. And that is the house where you are dealing with those who are close to you, like relatives and neighbours. The fourth house is where you are fulfilling your belonging needs, to belong to a home environment and a family unit, and to those who cohabitate with you in the home, sharing that family sense of belonging there, so you are fulfilling your belonging needs. The fifth house is where you are fulfilling your need to love. We all need to love, and we all need to have fun. And so entertainments and amusements fit into there. Romance and love fits into there. And sexual activities, sporting activities, restaurants and places of amusement, and children. The greatest capacity for us to express our love is through our offspring. The sixth house is the house where we are fulfilling our service needs. We all need to be having meaningful work. So work belongs in that arena of the sixth house. Meaningful work is very important for you regarding health. So we need to be able to be of useful service in the community through meaningful employment, and that fits into that category of maintaining good health through right diet and exercise. The seventh house is the house fulfilling our needs to have a mate, to have somebody in our life who is an intimate, someone that we can get to know, and to be known in return. To be known is very, very important, and to know someone is a very important need that needs to be fulfilled in life. The eighth house fulfills our need for change. We're all the time reflecting and thinking upon aspects of our nature that we know that we should transcend. And so fulfilling that need for change. The ninth house is the house where we fulfill our need for expansion. And we do that through adult education, through study, research and investigation, through philosophy, religious pursuits, and also travel. The 10th house is where we are fulfilling our esteeming needs. We all have a need to be well thought of in the community and to aspire to the heights of success in whatever our chosen field is, and that brings in the career and business. The 11th house is where we are fulfilling our need for friendship and group activities. We all have the need to have friendships and to have group activities in our life. We are ultimately all working towards group consciousness. And so group activities and club activities all fit into that category. The 12th house is where we are fulfilling our needs for solitude. We all need to have that time, quiet time to ourselves, where we can reflect and think upon ourselves and aspire towards being more of who we really are and aspire towards the divine. And many times we do this the wrong way. We do it through crisis and internment in hospitals and institutions. And we force ourselves to have that solitude. And we force ourselves to reflect upon moral and principles and values and so forth, and to develop our character and to aspire towards the divine. Make no mistake about it, you are in a spiritual classroom. All of us are in a spiritual classroom. Whether you believe in God and believe in Goddess is immaterial. The fact of the matter is that they have created everything that's in our lives. They have created everything that's in the universe. And without them, you wouldn't be here in life. Science poo-poos higher beings, and science poo-poos a designer in the universe, but the evidence of design in the universe is just so overwhelming that you must let it in that there is that God and Goddess, that ultimate being who's there to help us and to guide us. And so this is the objective and the purpose of my work, is to help you to be a believer in God and Goddess. A believer in the fact that they have set it up in a way that allows you and gives you the power to create your own reality. You are creating all of the events of your life. No one is doing it to you. So if you've got pain in your life, you've got to look at your raw materials. You've got to look at your attitudes and your beliefs and your thoughts and your feelings. It's easy to think that no one knows my thoughts and no one knows my feelings, but everything is recorded by yourself, by the higher aspects of yourself, your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind. And so rather than creating all of the events of your life through your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind, you're better off to do it consciously. And so this is what the objective of my intensives are all about, is to help you to understand the laws that we live within in this space-time rule set that we call Earth, this spiritual classroom that we call Earth. And we've all made mistakes. We need to draw upon courage. Courage is the willingness to act, even though you don't have all the answers, and even though some of the answers that you do have are wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. We all do it. And so the idea is to rise above those mistakes from here on, and to start changing those attitudes and beliefs and those thoughts and those feelings that are there in your subconscious mind, thoughts that you don't deserve love, thoughts and feelings and attitudes and beliefs that you're no good, that life is a financial struggle for you, that you'll never amount to anything, that relationships don't work out for you, that you're not lovable, and self-pity and fear and self-sabotage and anxiety and doubt and insecurity. Look, we've all got these things inside of ourselves. And this is what we're in this level of consciousness to do, is to transcend all of those negative aspects of ourselves. And so you sit back and relax now and enjoy the journey here, and I'll take you through a journey for 2014 and tell you what sort of impacts that you're going to be experiencing and which way that you are going to be developing those principles and values within yourself in order to fulfill your needs. Now, Gemini, it's a pleasure to be able to do your horoscope for you and to tell you some of the cycles that you'll be experiencing in 2014. You are a very loving person, Gemini. Gemini is ruled by the second ray of love wisdom. So you are out there communicating with people in order to express your love and also to develop wisdom through understanding. Through understanding people and understanding circumstances and conditions so that you can understand more about the reality that you find yourself in. So you are out and about all the time, doing things, very busy, taking in knowledge basically. Now there's a tremendous sense of duality within your nature. You fulfill your needs for impact, because that's what we're looking at in this particular reading, is we're looking at the fulfillment of your needs, a deep spiritual need that all of us have, and we fulfill those needs through the 12 houses of our horoscope. And you, as far as the first house is concerned, fulfill your needs for impact through your tremendous communicative skills. And also through study, research and investigation, you are an absorber of experience. So you're all the time out there putting yourself in the way of experience, in the way of communication, in order to be able to develop your understanding about things. There's a tremendous sense of duality in your nature, Gemini. You feel at times as if there's two people in the one body. You might even be part of a twin, or there might be twins in your family or extended family. But you're very affable, very adaptable, very sociable, and very loving, Gemini. Now, on the cusp of your second house, Gemini, you've got the sign Cancer. And Cancer is a very home-loving sign. And so therefore you find your sense of security and you fulfill your sense of security in life, not only financial but also emotionally, mentally and spiritually. You fulfill your needs for security through family and belonging and the domestic side of life. And emotionally, you are very practical when it comes to financial matters. You're very good with money. You're very good at spending it, and you eventually become very adept at hanging on to it as well. Now, you have got a most magnificent thing happening in the whole of 2014, Gemini. You have got Jupiter in the second house of your horoscope in transit all through the whole of 2014. So that means that you are going to have a tremendous time financially during this time, but you'll also have a tremendous time in terms of your physical, emotional and mental and spiritual security as well. So you can expect financial matters to go well for you in this particular year. You can expect opportunities to expand and develop your financial security in life. And you'll perhaps take on some adult course of study that will be along the line of budgeting and wisely and handling money and investments and things like that. The third house, Gemini, is where you are fulfilling your needs for communication. And you've got the sign Leo on the cusp there of your third house. So you really enjoy communication and you fulfill your communication needs through social activities. You like to get out and about and circulate with relatives and neighbours, and you're a social butterfly, what you might say. You get fairly fixed on your moods and your ideas on life, and it's difficult sometimes for people to turn you off those ideas. You've got a sunny disposition and you take a leadership role as far as communication is concerned. You're one to start the conversation and to control the conversation quite often, Gemini. Now, on the cusp of your fourth house, which is where you are fulfilling your belonging needs, you have the sign Virgo. So there's many changes of residence in life for you. There's domestic pets around the home. And quite often you work from home or bring work home to do at home. You could work quite often in the home, not your home maybe, but the homes of other people, as an agent or something like that, or a counsellor or something along those lines, where you're out and about and circulating with people in their homes. You also find your sense of belonging and security in the domestic arena. You also fulfill that sense of belonging, Gemini, through your job. So you like to be of service to people. And you're very health conscious and diet conscious in the later part of life especially. You're very meticulous, Gemini, about cleanliness around the home, and quite often there'll be people that you work with will come home and spend time there with you on a social level as well. The fifth house, Gemini, is where you are fulfilling your needs for having fun and expressing your love. And you do that through relationships, especially a relationship, an intimate one and a close one, a partnership or a marriage, where you can get to know somebody and they can get to know you. So you fulfill your needs for fun, and you do that on the social side of life through dancing and music and artistic and creative pursuits. You love getting out and socialising too with the general public, Gemini. You love to get out into restaurants and parades and places where you're going to see plenty of people and plenty of faces. You love people. Now the 6th house, Gemini, is where you are fulfilling your needs for service. And you have the sign Scorpio on the cusp of your 6th house. And Scorpio is a highly sexed sign, so you can expect that connected with the job there will perhaps be some involvement with somebody that you work with on a sexual level, and quite often a lot of intrigue there, perhaps with a secret relationship or something like that with somebody that you work with. There's quite often in your job and in your service activities and your fulfilling your needs for service, you have to take confidences. In other words, people trust you and divulge to you secrets and things about themselves that you have to honour that secrecy. You don't like many changes in your job either. So you like to have stability in the job. Now, as far as health and dietary matters are concerned, which fits into that 6th house, you are always deeply involved in introspection and reflection about aspects of yourself that you're working on to develop. Control perhaps over diet, control over exercise routines and rituals and things like that. Now Gemini, you have got Saturn in the 6th house of your horoscope for the whole of the year of 2014. That means that you have to be very practical. What Saturn is saying to you as far as the job is concerned and as far as health and dietary matters and controlling diet and exercise rituals and routines, Saturn is the law of economy. And it is saying to you, it's not a time for change in your job. It's a time to consolidate and to stabilise things, to take on extra responsibility in the job. And it's time for you to be very practical with regard to exercise rituals and routines. Get stuck into an exercise routine and to control your diet. Otherwise you're going to experience some health problems in 2014, Gemini. There could be the death of somebody that you work with or that you met through the job, and or a lingering illness involving somebody that you work with. And there can be frustrations with regard to employment matters for you, Gemini, in 2014. But you really got to be very careful with regard to your health. Get plenty of rest and sleep as well. Now Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, and it is in transit through the heavens throughout 2014, but it goes into a particular retrograde motion on the 2nd of March to the 20th of May. So you're going to find, Gemini, that during that particular time from the 2nd of March to the 20th of May, that things are not going to go as smoothly for you as what you would like them to, as far as work is concerned, and health matters are concerned, and dietary matters are concerned. So you're going to have to work that much harder during that particular time to keep things stable in the job and keep control of things as far as your diet and exercise rituals and commitments are concerned. On the cusp of your 7th house, which is where you are fulfilling your needs for a mate and your needs to be intimate and to have someone that you can get to know and that can get to know you in return, fulfilling those needs, Gemini, you've got Sagittarius on the cusp there. So you're bound to form a relationship with more than one person in your lifetime, more than one marriage, for example, and you'll get involved with somebody who's born distantly from the place of your birth. Could be of a different nationality and so forth. So there's going to be a lot of adventure through marriage and relationships. You'll travel overseas together, and there'll be a lot of adventure. You could be involved with somebody of a very religious and spiritual nature, or a very sports-minded person. Now Jupiter is the ruler of your 7th house, with Sagittarius on the cusp there, Gemini. And Jupiter is in an apparent backward motion, a retrograde motion from the 1st of January through to the 7th of March. Now what that means is that during that time you're going to experience things in relationships that are not going to go as smoothly as what you would like them to. And that then goes in a direct motion on the 7th of March, but it then goes back into a retrograde motion on the 9th of December. So there are 2 periods from the 9th of December onwards for the balance of the year and through Christmas and so forth. And that earlier period that I just mentioned, there's going to be that sense of not being able to have things go your way in marriage and relationships, and there's going to be quite a few secret worries for you in terms of fulfilling your needs to have a mate and to feel secure in that relationship and to be known and to get to know that person. Now the 8th house, Gemini, is where we are fulfilling our needs for change. And you've got Capricorn on the cusp there of your 8th house. So you will experience some difficulties in life, perhaps the early death of a parent. There can be some unhappiness focusing through parents. There can be the death of somebody that you really rely on and find a lot of support with in life. And there can be a lot of frustrations with regard to joint finances that you share with your partner in life. So there'll be a lot of frustrations in that regard, and difficulties in life, Gemini, making changes within yourself. It's hard for you to give up your addictions to emotional patterns of behaviour that you wanted to get rid of, and also physical patterns of behaviour like drugs and alcohol and things like that. So there's a lot of difficulties inside of yourself in making adjustments and changes within yourself, Gemini. Now Saturn is the ruler of your 8th house, Gemini, and it is in an apparent backward motion from the 3rd of March to the 21st of July. Now during that time you're going to find that financial matters that you share jointly with your partner are going to be a bit unstable, a bit unsteady, and you're going to have difficulties making adjustments and changes within yourself and fulfilling your needs for change during that particular time. The 9th house, Gemini, is where we are fulfilling our needs for expansion and our needs to expand through adult education and through travel, basically. And you've got Aquarius on the cusp of your 9th house. So that means that you have a lot of strange experiences in life when it comes to religious matters and also travel. So you'll be travelling and there'll be some strange circumstances occur whilst travelling. You'll go in the later part of life, especially in for New Age philosophy. Things like astrology, meditation, reincarnation, and all of these things. You don't like the normal run-of-the-mill religious beliefs. You like things that are more futuristic and care for the masses in terms of social welfare and things like that. There's potential with Aquarius on the cusp of your 9th house, Gemini, to have some sort of a crisis focusing through a relative who lives distantly from you or involving an in-law. The sudden death of that person or a crisis involving a firearm or something there that's rather unusual. Now Uranus is the ruler of your 9th house, Gemini, and it is in an apparent backward motion from the 23rd of July right the way through to the 22nd of December. So that means that during that particular time, which is almost 6 months, half the year of 2014, you're going to experience some strange circumstances in terms of relatives, in-laws, and relatives who live distantly from you, and also matters relating to the religious and spiritual things and higher education and adult education. And be careful whilst travelling too, because you can have some strange experiences during that particular time. Whilst you're travelling, it's not a good time for travel. On the cusp of your 10th house, Gemini, you've got the sign Pisces. And Pisces is a beautiful sign. It too is an expression of the second ray of love wisdom. So you can find yourself working quite a lot in hospitals or institutions, or in some other way counselling people and helping them and taking their confidences into yourself. And you are very trustworthy in that respect. But you will have a lot of strange circumstances to do with parents in life, parents who have problems with alcohol or drugs. You'll have some strange circumstances when it comes to the career or business. You can have financial losses through deception on the part of others and that sort of thing connected with the career or business. And there's many fluctuating circumstances in life too to do with your career and business. The 11th house is where we are fulfilling our needs to belong to a group and to belong to friends and to have friendships, and club activities and group social functions fit into that category. You've got the sign Aries on the cusp of your 11th house, Gemini. That means that you have friends who wear a uniform in the job quite feasibly. You have a fair bit of stress and tension focusing through friends. They seem to pour all of their anxieties upon you, and you've got to deal with that. You can be rather impulsive in the formation of friendships and end up getting their fingers burnt if you're not too careful. You'll be involved with sporting activities and interests with friends in a group format. Now you've got a very exciting thing happening through the whole of 2014, Gemini, as far as your relationships with friends are concerned. You have got Uranus in transit through the 11th house of your horoscope for the whole of 2014. And what that means is that you can expect the unexpected in regard to friendships. Sudden formation of friendships under unusual circumstances, sudden breakups of friendships, sudden crises involving other people's children, and all sorts of strange circumstances just out of the blue can pop upon you in life through friends, other people's children, group activities and club activities throughout 2014. You'll be attracted towards all sorts of New Age philosophies and group activities and interests during 2014, Gemini, with Uranus there. So things like astrology, meditation and reincarnation will be a natural for you. And the last house, Gemini, is the 12th house. And the 12th house, you have Taurus on the cusp of your 12th house. Now Taurus is Venus ruled. So you'll be bound to find yourself having a lot of secret worries in life. This is where you are fulfilling your needs for solitude. And so you've designed it in such a way that you'll have a lot of secret worries about money matters and matters relating to your sense of security. And you will get involved in a secret relationship at some time in life too that creates a sense of insecurity there. And through those insecurities financially, and to do with your material welfare and financial welfare, and to do with relationships and friendships and attachments, you will be projected into a state of solitude where you'll think a lot and reflect a lot upon that situation and benefit from that sort of crisis or that sort of solitude. So all in all, Gemini, it's a bumper year for you financially. You can expect money to come in from all over the place during 2014. So it's a good time for investments. It's a good time for you to do with expansion and growth as far as your financial reserves are concerned. And you'll have a sense of stability and a sense of security through study, research and investigation and expanding your understanding about money matters. You've got to guard your health during 2014, Gemini, because you've got to be very practical and get plenty of rest and sleep, correct diet, right exercise rituals and routines are a must for you during 2014, otherwise you're going to pay the price. You see, this is not imposed on us by God and Goddess. This is something that we have created ourselves for this particular time in your life, to force yourself to be practical with regard to health and dietary matters. And it's not a good time for changes in your job either. And as far as friendships are concerned, Gemini, you can expect the unexpected, a lot of unusual experiences through friends and through group activities, and you can expect to be attracted towards the New Age philosophies of life. Well, now that you've been exposed to what I've told you about the events and conditions that you'll be experiencing in 2014, where do you go from here? Well, it's very, very important for you to understand that just because you don't have all the answers, it doesn't mean that other people don't. And so I've written 2 books. What Really Matters is a book about astrology, meditation and reincarnation. And I've taken all of that material out of that book and put it into 12 CDs. And I'm happy to send you those 12 CDs free of charge. So what you do from here on is subscribe to my website, subscribe to my videos through YouTube, so that every new video that I bring out will be sent to you. And I'll be doing 100 videos or so in 2014 for your benefit on all aspects of spiritual growth, to help you become more of the giant that you truly are. My other book is called Coming Home, An Eternal Journey, and that one goes into things a lot more deeply about the larger plan and quantum physics and the holographic nature of reality and all sorts of other stuff that we won't bother with here. So what I want to help you to do is to be more successful in your life, to be able to consciously create the events and conditions in your life. You have that power. Make no mistake about it. You have that power inside of yourself to create all of the events and conditions in your life by conscious choice instead of subconscious choice as you're doing now. So submit your birth details, even if you've watched videos of mine in the past. Submit your birth details so that I can send you your chart together with those 12 CDs out of my first book on astrology, meditation and reincarnation. And also I'll send you other stuff too, all the links to all of my videos and everything. So this is all free of charge to help you become more of who you really are. But you then have the option of taking horoscope number 2. Horoscope number 2, look, what I'm telling you here in this particular reading that you've just been watching is I'm only telling you a very small amount of the things to do with your ascendant and the signs on the cusp of each of your 12 houses and the movements of the planets through your houses in 2014. But there's so much more there that's in your individual horoscope that I can't touch on, because I don't have your personal horoscope. There won't be another person born with the same horoscope as you for another 25,000 years. So you've got the moon is in a certain house and a certain sign and forming certain aspects with other planets in your horoscope. And that means something to you. You've got Mercury, which is your communication skills and your mentality. And that's in somewhere in one of those 12 houses. And that's in aspect with other planets and so forth. And that has meaning. You've got Venus, which is your love nature, and that is sitting somewhere in one of the houses of your horoscope. And Mars is sitting in one of the houses of your horoscope. All of these things have meaning. They have aspects with each other, with other planets and so forth. So this all has meaning. Jupiter is a major beneficial influence in your life. Where have you got Jupiter sitting in your horoscope, which is the main area that you can find happiness and joy and wonder and expansion in your life? Saturn is sitting somewhere in your horoscope, so there's a lot of tests there involved with Saturn. And Uranus and Neptune, all these planets have impact And they're all sitting in different houses of your horoscope, and they're all forming aspects and relationships with each other that make you unique and different from everybody else. So I want to interpret your horoscope for you. So in horoscope number 2, I'll do that for you. It's a 20-page printout on you and you alone. And all to do with your personal planets and your houses and signs and aspect and so forth. And then to have horoscope number 3 is my voice with beautiful relaxing backing music to tell you all about the intimate side of your life and where your tests lie and what's going on in the immediate past, so you can say, yes, he knows what he's talking about, and then I'll go into the immediate future, 5 years or so for you, and tell you what's coming up. This helps you to have a map to know where you're going in life. So I thank you for your attentiveness here and look forward to working further with you should you get involved in my intensives and should you have your horoscope done by me. Thank you.